Hey guys, I'm Pete from MyJewelryBench.com. No doubt in the past, for those of you who follow my watch repairs, you notice that I use this giant mouse pad here, which is actually a watch pad. That watch pad helps when I'm taking a watch apart. If a part comes out of the watch, it just kind of falls on the pad, doesn't bounce around. Today we're going to try something new, and I'm going to tell you whether or not I recommend it. Let's get started. Okay guys, in the past I've talked about this pad once or twice. It's kind of nice to have. When I'm working on a watch, I can put my my movement holder here, my pad, and on this is actually a big rubber mat, kind of like a giant mouse pad. And what it does is it softens the dropping of small parts. When you're working on a watch, you're working with very small parts. This pad kind of stops them from bouncing around. They kind of stay on the pad, which is kind of nice. You'll have that occasional boing where something flies out, but for the most part, as long as you have your tray out on your bench and you're using something soft like this, it's easy to lay out your parts across the top. I also use parts trays so that when I'm taking a watch apart, I usually put the bigger parts in here and I'll break down each of the parts, but occasionally you can just kind of lay out your parts here depending on what you're working. I tend not to use parts trays when I'm working on things like pocket watches. I wanted to try something new because, yeah, I'm always using the parts trays, and my parts trays are kind of expensive, and I end up, because I have to order parts, the watches will be broken down and they store in the parts tray, and then I end up with a lack of parts trays. So you can never have too many of those. I'll put a link to all these products in the description below, so if you want to take a look at those are affiliate links. I do make a small commission on those, just so you know. It doesn't cost you anything. What we're going to try today is something completely different, and no doubt some of you have seen these and some of you have not, but I thought I'd try something new. So we're going to roll this up, put this aside, and grab our new product. So what I wanted to try was an electronics parts tray. Now, the reason I wanted to try this parts tray was because of several reasons. It already has the trays built into it. So we have different levels of areas where you can put your parts. The cool thing about this is that while I'm working on a watch and I have, let's say, my pad here, and I'm taking the watch apart, these are already built into my pad. This is a high temperature rubber, so you can bend it and maneuver it and roll it up if you want and store it someplace else. So it doesn't allow for a lot of small parts to bounce. But for the most part, the reason I like this is because we have all these little nooks and crannies where I can store everything while I'm working on them, both while I'm taking things apart, cleaning, and then reassembling. So there's one thing, if you're working with watches, that you're going to want to do first. So I'm going to flip this over real quick and we're going to take care of that. These parts trays come with magnets built into them for electronics parts. But in watch repair, we can't use magnets. So the first thing you want to do is, I'm going to just kind of open these up. And I'm going to remove the magnets if I can. Because I don't want to get my parts magnetized. When you're working with watches, remember, you don't want anything magnetized. And I'll put a demagnetizer in the description below too, because you do get certain things become magnetized mostly by accident or customers wearing the watches. Sometimes they work around certain things and that can cause a problem. So we're going to remove all these magnets, just put them aside. We don't need them. Okay, now that I've got that done, flip that back over, and I'm going to show you basically how this works. With the removal of the 3 magnets, now I've got a safe place to take my watches apart, organize all the pieces, and by doing so I can clean just like I do normally, step by step. And I'm just going to take a watch that I've already disassembled, and I'm going to show you basically how I work on something like that. So now don't get too nervous, this watch is dirty, I haven't cleaned it, so if I'm handling it, just so you know, it's not detrimental to this watch. But we've got some of our bridges. I can put my bridges and the corresponding screws for those bridges together. I tend to keep all my gears in one spot, and you can see when I drop it, it just kind of falls down and stops in the right place, and it doesn't slide across the bench. That's one nice thing about the rubber. So keeping all your parts together in organized little trays is always a good thing. Now you'll notice this is about the same color as the big pad that I was using before. So really and truly you can still see all the parts. I think being either a middle gray or a blue color really helps with watch parts because you can lay them out and see all the parts that you have here. And again, we've got little trays to hold everything we need. So for instance, the bigger parts here I can throw in the bigger trays where they'll stay. And then I've got everything I need whenever I need it. Everything could be stored here. A good place for your tools, all the screws. I mean, if you wanted to use these places for screws, although I tend to keep each screw with the parts that they correspond to. So, you know, that's my thought. I've been working with this for about a day. I really like it because of the trays and the convenience. It does become a little bit cumbersome if a part falls in here, but they're easy to get out. You know, we work with tweezers, and again, all the tools that I typically use, I'll put links to purchase those in the description below. And you could just kind of get your parts right out of there. So if you do want to store your screws in certain places, you can. Under $15, I'm pretty happy with this. The big pad that I bought when it first came out, those were about $30. They've gotten down less expensive. But the disadvantage to that is this has the trays built into it and those big mouse pads don't. So if you are going to fix watches on a regular basis, I would highly recommend this. It's convenient, it's inexpensive, and everything you need is very readily available right at your fingertips. I hope you like this video, guys. If you do, give it a thumbs up and share if you can. All the sharing that you guys can do for my videos kind of helps my channel grow, and I appreciate that. Everything that my channel has grown tremendously in the past year, and I owe it all up to you guys. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Thanks guys for taking the time to watch some of my videos. I really appreciate it. If you like these videos and you find them helpful, please give me a thumbs up. And if you want to see new stuff that I put out, usually on a weekly basis, hit the subscribe button and you can get notified by clicking on that little bell. I really appreciate any sharing that you can do, and the thumbs up that I get if you like these videos kind of helps with my channel to grow. You'll see that in the descriptions and on my website I do put affiliate links to products that I show and use in these videos. Those affiliate links give me a little small commission. Doesn't cost you anything if you buy them, and when you buy within the first 24 hours of clicking on those links, I get a tiny little commission that helps keep this channel going. Any little bit helps to keep this up and running. Again, thanks for taking the time to watch it. If you liked it, hit that thumbs up and share on social media. Take care guys, happy watchmaking and jewelry making.